this is Bridgerton Fancast, a podcast about Netflix's biggest show, Bridgerton, and we're its hosts.
I'm Michelle. I live in the States. You can find me at Musings on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Rita. I live in England, and I'm at Rita Bites on Instagram and Twitter.
This week, we are going to be discussing the 7th episode of the first season. I'm so glad we can say that. But before we start, we need to ask you, please, not to listen to this week's podcast in front of children or anyone who may be sensitive to discussions of a sexual nature. Episode 7 was called Oceans Apart, and it was written by Jay Ross and Abby McDonald. It was directed by Ulrich Riley. Here is an overly detailed recap to remind you of what went down.
Okay, so the episode began at Cliveden with Daphne aggressively banging on her piano, and Simon tried to shoot some pigeons out in the garden at the same time, but they kept irritating each other. They're obviously not in a great place after the previous episode, but the fun times continue at a very tense dinner. They do that thing where they get the servants to pass messages to each other, despite the fact that they're in the exact same room, yes. And it's super awkward. I'm like, don't do this in front of the children! Those poor servants. They are fighting about Daphne moving into a different bedroom, but before they can settle the matter, the newest Lady Whistledown is delivered, the one that outed Marina's pregnancy, so Daphne makes plans to immediately leave for London, and Simon insists on going with her.
Portia Featherington is trying to find a charitable institution that will take in Marina's baby. She comes into trouble when they demand to be paid for their services, for lest we forget that the Featheringtons, they broke. They very, very broke. Daphne arrives in London and finds her family trying to minimize the fallout from the scandal. She hopes that her and Simon's return to town will cause enough of a hubbub to quiet the whispers of the ton. Colin is upset that he cannot even see Marina for fear of sparking off more talk. Daphne tries to convince him that if he is lucky, he learned of Marina's deception before they married. She's not projecting at all. Not at all. No. Mm-mm. In the end, she is convinced to set up a secret meeting between the couple.
Simon, meanwhile, is boxing against Will because, he either punches things or drinks to deal with his emotions. This time, he's chosen punching. Will, however, is not a moron, so he attempts to try and talk to him about what happened on his honeymoon. But, unfortunately, the scene doesn't end with any kind of meaningful sharing because we're 5 minutes into the show and there's more brooding to happen. Back at Hastings' house, the Duke's London residence, and Daphne can't sleep. Does this girl ever rest? Get that melatonin, bitch! I'm tired of saying the sentence! Anyway, she watches Simon creep up the stairs late at night.
Is this truly what our marriage will be for the future? You out all night doing God knows what with God knows whom?
With whom? You won't be. Not 3 weeks since we were wed, yet already you imagine me disloyal.
Is it such a wild imagining? We both know your reputation, Your Grace.
Wow, they've been married 3 weeks. Even Kim Kardashian managed 72 days before that went kablooey. Anywho, Simon asks if she believes that there's nothing left of their marriage, and they start to aggressively make out. He then drags her over to the staircase. Not very comfy, if you ask me.
No.
And he eats her out to completion, which takes some skill. I'm very proud of you, Simon.
Yes.
Congrats on the orgasm, Daphne.
Yes.
When Daphne tries to take things further, Simon stops her. He tells her that their sexual relationship is over, that he will only remain in her life if she has become pregnant to care for the child, but that he plans on leading a totally separate life from her.
Damn.
An awkward come down.
Yeah.
From that high.
Yeah, exactly. The next day, Daphne invites Marina around to her home so that Colin may speak with her. Colin tells her that he doesn't believe that what Whistledown wrote about her, and Marina tells him that it's true. Doy! Colin is heartbroken that she doesn't actually love him. Marina, in typical Marina fashion, doesn't apologize or take any responsibility for her own actions, and instead insists that no one truly helped me or guided me in a different direction. Girl, what? Wow.
Oh.
Penelope did nothing but help you, and you spat that back in her face last week. So, back to the scene where Colin is #unimpressed, and as he leaves the room, tells her that, ironically, he was so in love with her that he probably would have married her if she had just been honest about being pregnant.
Yep.
So, in the immortal words of DJ Khaled, congratulations, you played yourself.
Just the highest brow of references on this podcast. Okay, so the Bridgertons and the Duke and Duchess arrive at the Queen's luncheon, which is actually some kind of garden party in the Buckingham Palace. The newlyweds are immediately flocked with well wishes, including the Queen herself, who says she has 100 guineas down on there being a Hastings heir within the year. And now that I'm thinking about it, 100 guineas? You're the Queen! You can afford more than that.
Seriously.
Anyway, she asks if Daphne is yet with child. Casual reminder, they haven't even been married a month, so how the hell would anyone know yet? You know who else is at this party? Lady Danbury. Oh, how I missed her last week, and here she is wearing a snazzy, slanted hat, rocking a cane like a bad bitch. She congratulates Daphne on her excellent diversion tactic and invites her to a super special secret married ladies soiree, #no boys allowed.
More Queen shenanigans. She calls over Eloise and asks her how the Whistledown investigation is going. Eloise still has nothing because she's not actually doing anything but making wild guesses. And this displeases the Queen, who commands Eloise get her an answer. Now! The party comes to a grinding halt as the Featherington ladies arrive. All the matrons in attendance were aghast. I swear you could almost hear, like a pull of a needle across a record when they walked in.
You would think
door.
like a mass murderer had just walked in.
Honestly. Eloise pulls Penelope aside and asks her how things are. Penelope confesses that they haven't had any callers in days, and that her mother suspects they are ruined. Eloise promises to find Lady Whistledown and make her print a retraction to restore her family's reputation. Portia approaches Violet and tries to convince her that she had no idea of Marina's plans. Violet cuts her without a word, and the Featheringtons are escorted from the party in shame.
Daphne walks off into the gardens by herself and is followed by her mother, who suspects that something is wrong with her. Oh, I wonder, and asks her to share.
My marriage is far from perfect.
Well, then, share your thoughts. Perhaps I can offer my wisdom.
Or perhaps you will send me off with more vague metaphors and trite remarks.
Darling, I am merely trying to be of help.
Do you know what might have truly helped matters? If your motherly advice had actually prepared me to wed.
Whatever do you mean?
I mean, Mamma, that you sent me out into the world no better than a fool.
A mic drop. Daphne then goes to visit Marina. Daphne apologizes to her for misjudging her, and she says she understands? I mean, I certainly don't. I mean, please enlighten me, Daphne. What is there to understand? Marina tells her about Sir George, and Daphne offers to speak to a general on her behalf and have Sir George found. Okay, why has it taken 7 episodes and seemingly months for someone to suggest this very simple thing?
Yeah. Portia Featherington blames her husband for their newfound ruined status. After all, if it weren't for his gambling debts, they could have shipped Marina Thompson back to God knows where when they realized she was a scandal waiting to happen. Baron Featherington reacts to this by doing something even stupider. He goes to Will the boxing hottie and asks him to throw his next match in exchange for a huge payout. Will is insulted, but Featherington leaves his card anyway. I think we're supposed to suspect Will might do it, but there's no way in hell. He is a good man. That is very rare on this show, and I shan't doubt him.
Daphne arrives at the super special secret married lady soiree hosted by Lady Danbury and finds herself sat at a table with Lady Trowbridge, Lucy Granville, and Kitty Langham. They are going #wild, drinking expensive spirits and gambling away all their husband's money. They go full Kardashians.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most fun at a party anyone has had all season, and Daphne takes to it like a duck to water, drinking excessively and winning a bunch of cash money. In the process, Daphne befriends Kitty Langham, the general's wife, who offers to tell her where she can write to him. Meanwhile, Simon is getting drunk at his club when Anthony arrives and starts babbling about the colour and bubbles of his beer, which rather winds Simon up and made me actually giggle. They're such bros. Anthony infers that something has gone horribly wrong in the marriage and starts pushing Simon to talk about it, which makes Simon, of course, turn on him.
You certainly make it look difficult. I beg your pardon. With your constant struggles. You cannot manage it, can you? Your responsibility. You fulfilling the promise that every firstborn son makes to his father before he dies. Do you think he's looking down on you now? Ashamed? Mortified at what you have done? I wonder what would the former Viscount say?
At this point in the episode, I straight up screamed, "Your daddy wants you to punch him, Anthony!" at the TV. And then Anthony certainly does. They get into what can only be described as a brawl, with Anthony straight up flipping Simon over a table. Like, what is this, WWE? What am I watching?
Daphne returns home that night and helps Simon clean his wounds, and it immediately becomes filled with sexual tension because that's how the cliche goes. She sits on his lap and they kiss. It's super romantic and sweet. Daphne then breaks the spell by saying, "A child would be a blessing." Again, needle across a record.
Oh, read the room.
Yes. She wants to know why he has decided he doesn't want children, which probably should have been her first question last episode, but here we are. Simon explains that he swore an oath, blah, blah, blah. You know the story by now. But Daphne hears this and gets angry and accuses him of hating his father more than he might love her. We then get another Lady Whistledown voiceover during a montage of Simon and Daphne avoiding each other in their gigantic mansion. The only time they seem to spend time in the same room is when they check Daphne's bed sheets for signs that her period has started. And it hasn't yet. The possibility of a little heir still dangles above them.
Over at Bridgerton House, Eloise and Penelope are brainstorming about Lady Whistledown's possible identity. They realise that the edition that singled out Marina was different because it contained information not yet publicly available outside of the Featherington home. Eloise theorises that perhaps a tradesperson overheard something the servants were discussing because, quite frankly, nobody was keeping that secret very well hidden.
No.
Penelope suggests that Eloise attend the opera that night to keep the Queen abreast of the latest development. Daphne tells Marina that she has written to the General. Marina is immediately dismissive because she thinks that without Simon's signature, he will just ignore her. She's a freaking duchess. He is gonna write back. But Marina calls Daphne unworldly and then leaves, having given up all hope. She's just the worst, you guys, at every opportunity.
Let's see. So, Anthony apologizes to Colin. Colin likens it to the end of days. He's not wrong. Anthony tells him that the pain will pass and soon it will be as if he never loved her at all. How has that worked out for you? Referring, of course, to the opera singer, who I shan't name again for the rage it will bring out in Rita. Fear not, Anthony. Season 2 is going to mend your heart.
Aww.
Violet Bridgerton helps Eloise prepare for her night at the opera. And she is serving up some Audrey Hepburn in War and Peace vibes. Stunning. Violet seems to have taken in all the things Daphne screamed at her about earlier and reassures Eloise that if she's not prepared to take her place in society, that she can wait until she feels ready. Eloise is like, hey, if the queen's there, I'm there.
Okay, so Simon catches Daphne holding her hand over an imaginary bump as she looks in the mirror, and I was like, oh, it's not even been 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And he interrupts her to leave for the opera because they are attending together. Already at the opera is Benedict, who bumps into his, let's face it, his only friend, Sir Granville, and asks him to explain his situation. Granville explains that he's in love with Lord Weatherby and that his wife is just super chill with the situation because the arrangement affords her wealth and freedom and she can screw whoever she likes. Girls living the best life.
Yes.
Benedict, however, isn't impressed.
We live on a constant threat of danger, Bridgerton. I risk my life every day for love. You have no idea what it is like to be in a room with someone you cannot live without. And yet still feel as though you are oceans apart. Stealing your glances, disguising your touches. We cannot so much as smile at each other without first ensuring no one else is watching. It takes courage to live outside the traditional expectations of society. You talk of doing the same, but perhaps it is merely just that.
Okay, consider yourself called out, Benny. Eloise meets with the Queen in the royal box and tells her of her theory, clearly expecting her to be impressed. But Queen Charlotte is like, is that all? She's already hired a team of Bow Street runners to find Lady Whistledown and silence her. Eloise is distressed because she needs Lady Whistledown to save Penelope's reputation. She runs into Benedict in the foyer and together they scamper out of the opera before the show even starts, which is a waste of money, but okay.
Yeah.
On the carriage ride home, they stop and pick up Madame Delacroix, which is as bloody awkward as you can imagine. Somehow, because Madame Delacroix knows the Featheringtons are ousted from society, Eloise concludes that Delacroix is Lady Whistledown, and there are a series of dramatic flashbacks to prove it. Whoa, Eloise, figuring shit out.
The opera begins. From his box seats, Anthony spots the opera singer, who I shan't name again, for the rage it will bring out in Rita. She is with another man, and Anthony has a sad. Intercut with Vivaldi of the opera, added, for added drama. Marina sneaks into the kitchen and starts combining random items into tea, which she then drinks. Back at the opera, and Simon reaches out to hold Daphne's hand. It's sweet for a little while, until she gasps and runs out of the seating area. Over at the Featheringtons, Penelope goes to speak to Marina and finds her passed out on her bedroom floor. Back at the opera, and Daphne has just discovered she has her period. The show makes the bold choice of showing the menstrual blood. I mean, sad that it's 2020 and it's kind of
bold.
taken this long. Yeah, I mean, it's there. We know. Anyway, we approve of this. And then Violet Bridgerton barges in to comfort her when she starts sobbing mournfully. Simon listens to her cry from his seat. The end.
Oh my god, that was so much. That was too much. And all of it was sad.
So, storylines. Simon and Daphne.
Oh god. So their dynamic this week was just a total mess. I mean, as you would expect. I think the first time through, I was just so mad at both of them. I left the episode angry, and I remember I messaged you immediately like, I'm angry at Daphne! I think the fact that I can't just play the next episode and I just have to sit with these horrible feelings made it the ending so much worse, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think on second and third watch, I really appreciate the performances of the actors for selling the hell out of these angsty scenes. But also I thought more about how these characters are actually feeling in the moment and less about how I just want them to get back together. I mean, and these are really big problems in a marriage to process and overcome. And I have to be patient when they're terrible at talking about their feelings. But but my God, they are bad. They are bad communicators. I feel
Yes.
they are like one good conversation apart from reconciling. They're just like, you just need to sit down and everyone just talk. And then they'd be
take a minute.
Just take a minute to process your information, right? And then everybody say how they feel. And they got really close in that scene where she wipes his face. But I think until they both actually talk about Simon's childhood properly, like Daphne's not going to understand. I think at the moment she's just thinking, I want a baby, and she's dismissive.
She's not understanding. Yeah, she's not understanding what the man went through, with his father. And so, I thought that it was very hard to watch these two as they struggled through dealing with what had happened. I thought that, and I should have known better, because this is the 7th episode and we still have one more to go. And, that it wasn't going to be a, if not instant, a quick reconciliation, that we were going to have to spend the episode with them kind of locked in battle, silent battle, over the situation. Because, as we discussed last week, there was some pretty freaking serious shit that went down between the two of them. And, it's definitely not something that's going to get taken care of with a quick little Band-Aid solution. So, but I too, like you, really truly commend the actors for how they handled this content in such a way that showed not only the anger, but also the heartbreak and longing that these two have for one another. So
I think more than anything, you really saw how much they hurt each other.
Yeah.
They really hurt each other, and it was really like heartbreaking to watch them just sort of miss each other, and they're in the same room and you're like, just talk. Yeah. It's so frustrating because you just feel like they just don't have the skills to solve this problem for themselves. I'm like, how are they going to do it? I don't know. But we root for it, because honestly, they're going to be miserable until they sort it out, and it's not fun to watch.
Yeah.
I hope that Lady Danbury can come in and just smack them both around the head. Like, come on. Let me sort this out for you.
Will you two grow out? Yes. Will you two grow up? Okay, Marina and Colin.
I was very happy when Marina finally got to be honest with Colin, and then she admitted she never loved him. It was brutal for Colin, but totally necessary to get him to wake up to reality, because when he was like, oh, maybe she's not pregnant, it's just lies, I wanted to smack him around the head. I was just like, come on, why do you think she was pushing for you to elope?
Come on, child. Put 2 and 2 together. I know you have a brain in that pretty little head of yours. Put 2 and 2 together.
I just wish she had at some point would have apologized to him. The fact that she never did and just made excuses made it really hard to like her.
Yeah.
Or to feel sympathy for this thing she did. She still seems super myopic when it comes to understanding other people. She's just like, well, I had to do it.
Yeah, deal with it.
I had to deal with it. I'm like, she apologized to Daphne and not to Colin, which was
I know.
That made me angry. I was like, Colin is the person you've hurt here. Daphne is a bystander. She is married as well. Daphne is the only one that gets out of this scandal scot-free. It would make more sense to apologize to Eloise, whose next season she has just ruined. I think this whole episode, the show is really trying to push the Marina is sympathetic angle.
Yeah.
I did not buy in, because she was awful. And I'm also really uncomfortable with the show framing Sir George's action as a crime, a word they actually used in this storyline, crime.
Yeah.
They managed to blame him for knocking her up. Like, he did it single-handedly.
Yeah. It's like, sweetie, yeah, it takes two to tango. You were there. Obviously, you tangoed.
It completely strips Marina of any consequences or agency.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I hate when writers do this. They think it's like a feminist way to write the show, and it's like, no, just excusing any woman's bad actions with some pseudo-feminism. It's actually insulting to me as a woman. I'm like,
yes.
No thank you. I'm not a pure victim.
Yeah.
I can face the consequences of my bad actions like a grown-up. So should Marina.
Yes.
I'm going to have a stroke. Thank you. This is also like she went full Elizabeth Poldark in this episode. I was like,
oh my god, yes. It's like, not again.
When she was drinking that tea, I was like, oh, I'm having like PTSD.
Oh god. Hey, I don't have anything else to add to this whole thing. You nailed it flat on the head. And sank it into the wood. Well done, my girl.
So another thing that sort of sprang up randomly this episode was Daphne's relationship with Marina, a person I don't think she's ever had a scene before. But she was suddenly like, they were suddenly like best friends, and Daphne was like, oh, I understand you, we're the same. And I was like, what? Because you both made questionable choices recently?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's really the only thing that they have in common in this whole thing. I mean, granted, I think she got pouty. If we search the memory banks back several episodes, she did get pretty cranky about Marina getting a shit ton of callers whilst hers dried up. Although they dried up probably not by any fault of her own, but because Anthony was being a real twat. But anyway, that is basically what the two of them had prior to this episode. And I was just like, really? I'm hoping, and I think this is true, that she did all of this because of her love for her brother.
It wasn't played that way, though, at all.
I know. It was like, I must help Marina, and I must find out what's going on with her, and blah, 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 blah. And it was like there was a little kernel of, she's in love with someone else, so let me try and prove that. But it came across more as, let me help Marina, figure her shit out.
It really, to me, sort of seemed like she was projecting her own issues onto Marina, and like being like, well, I didn't know about sex, so Marina didn't know about sex, and suddenly she's pregnant, and it's what's his name again? So whatever's George.
Sir George.
It's George's fault. And to a certain extent, George is responsible.
George didn't tell her about the consequences of what was going to happen, what could happen.
But I mean, like, that's not really. Also, again, it's not really George's job to inform her.
Right.
Like, these people's parents should be telling them. And also, like, I never really got the impression that Marina was that as ignorant as Daphne, and she kept calling her unworldly as well. So I was like,
yeah, didn't Marina live on a farm?
Yeah, that is shorthand for she knows what sex is in any romance novel. So
yeah,
I just don't get. I don't know. Maybe she was completely ignorant of the consequences, but she kept checking her bed for a period, so she couldn't have been that ignorant. I don't know. It's just like, I was just like, Daphne, stop involving yourself in this drama and go help your brother who is upset.
Yes.
I mean, obviously Marina does need someone to find Sir George for her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why has it taken this show so long for someone to suggest this? Like, it's the first thing Baron Featherington would have tried.
Yep. Well, wait a second. I don't think Baron Featherington gives a rat's ass about any of these people in his life.
No, he's the worst.
Yeah, so, I doubt that he would have tried to check. Her parents?
Where are her parents?
Her parents should have at least given this a go.
Why didn't she, as soon as she found out she was pregnant, I would have got on a carriage, I would have gone to the countryside, had that baby in secret with my parents then. And then given it up to a villager, like any historical romance novel. Then that would have been my tragic backstory when I met my next husband. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
At every turn, I think Marina is doing absolutely nothing. Daphne came along and basically gave her a plan for how she can save herself. Just in the same way that Baroness Featherington did previously. And now Daphne's gonna, like, sort this whole thing for her, because Marina's only idea is to just, like, drink some stupid potion. Like, what, Marina? Also, if you were gonna try and give yourself an abortion, you should have tried it months ago, when it was safer.
Yes. Yeah.
She's so thick. I'm sorry, Marina lovers, but at every turn she is just dumb.
Oh, God.
Gotta give it to Elizabeth Poldark. She may be making bad decisions, but she's doing them in a timely manner. Marina waits until the last. She's like, everybody's found out I'm pregnant.
I guess I better try and do something about it.
Oh, Marina.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Okay. Finally, Eloise's search for Lady Whistledown.
I mean, finally she attempted to do something, because previously she's just gone, "Oi, is it you?" And they've been like, "No."
No. How about you? Yeah. Wild guesses do not a detective make.
No. I mean, it is baffling that she thinks she's helping the Queen in some way.
I know.
And every time she asked her, she was just like, "No, I haven't done anything yet." And it's like, Eloise, this is like your life's passion. This is your one goal. This is your one storyline. You've been going about how you're more than just a future bride or whatever. And you're not devoting yourself to this in the slightest.
Yes.
Terrible move. And also just like the fact that she figured out that Madame Delacroix knew something about the Featheringtons and was like, well, that means she's Whistledown. I was like, really?
Must be. It's like, there are all kinds of things that Delacroix could know about people in the Ton. It's not just like, oh, you know something about the Featheringtons. You must be the person. Like, no, there's all kinds of shit that people can know. And God knows the Featheringtons have a bucket load of stuff going on in their world.
Like I said, they were not very good at hiding the secret. The servants were talking about it. The girls were talking about it. There were like people coming to visit. That guy that liked the cheese was in the house while they were talking about it. It could be him. I mean, cheese man, you're Lady
Cheese
Whistledown. I think this. Honestly, though, the theory is the strongest one she's had yet, because I was like, that would be a good position to reap all the gossip, but also, when is she going to find time to write this column? She's a working woman. Also, she doesn't appear to have any seamstresses, so she's making hundreds of gowns by herself and measuring them all by herself, and then also still having time to have orgies with Benedict.
It boggles the mind, and it has always, kind of boggled my mind how these elaborate dresses just seem to be, to spring up out of nowhere. I need a dress for the ball tonight. And then here's this amazing gown. Y'all just have these things sitting around and then you just take in a couple seams and bam, you're done? You know, I don't think so. But anyway.
At least in books, they were always like, you can have it in a week. That's more reasonable.
Yeah. If, I'm sewing my fingers to the bone, you can have it in a week. Anyhow. Okay, favorite scenes.
I loved the scene at Lady Danbury's soiree. I think it's a great character moment for Daphne as well, because she got to see that there is more to marriage than just babies.
Yes.
And I think she definitely needs her horizons expanded and to see that there's more to life than what her mother has told her. And I'm like, yes, Lady Danbury, be her fairy godmother and take her to the ball where she will.
Show her all of the joys of
being an independent
marriage
woman
back in those days. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And I was thinking, like, do you think she even knows who she is outside of the performance she put on to catch a suitor?
No.
Because she's spent all of her time, like, even the piano was to catch a man. Like, she literally just needs time to find out what she likes and live it up and party and be herself and, like, not have the expectations of her mother or society. And I think she should spend some time just being herself and without any kids before she becomes a mother, and then she's just that for the rest of her life.
Yeah. No, I think that this little taste of freedom gave Daphne the opportunity to broaden her mindset. Let's just put it that way.
Also, I was living for Kitty. I thought she was like, I had such a girl crush on her. When I grow up, can I be Kitty Langham? And I also really liked the Violet and Eloise scene. It redeemed Violet a bit to see her sort of course correcting her terrible parenting.
Yes. It's like, okay, I kept all this shit quiet for too damn long. Let me try and do something to make life for the rest of my children a good one. So, I one of the things that I noticed, how Eloise is always wearing the her dresses with the little filmy thing covering her
neck, really.
Her neck and bosoms.
They're trying to cover that shit up. We can't know she's 33.
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, well now she's going to be going out into society, and so, ta-da! It's
there
like
they are.
The big reveal. Here they are. They're here, serving her up to the ton.
I thought she looked great. I know I'm
I
not
did
supposed
too.
to be like. I was like, girl, you look better.
Yeah, honestly, and the way that she walks, kind of like with the book and kind of hunched up, it's like I know that is an absolute deliberate choice for the actress to help her assume this role. Because, Eloise is bookish and she, wants to be independent and doesn't give a fig about getting married and all of that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, okay, let me kind of curl up into myself.
That's kind of like how I always looked whenever I was in formal wear at like prom or anything. I was just like, why am I dressed up like this? This is not normal.
Any other favorite scenes that we haven't already discussed? Because we covered a lot of them when we were talking about the storylines.
I mean, other than the sexy scenes.
Yeah.
Like, for obvious reasons.
Exactly.
I quite liked watching Anthony and Simon interact again because I am like, I think in that moment I realised, oh, Simon's got a huge family now.
Yes.
Like, he's been completely alone and now he has this annoying older brother figure that's going to be like bugging him.
It's like, yeah, welcome, dude. You're not alone anymore.
It's kind of sweet. But they they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, that was
cute.
pretty. That was pretty comical.
What about you?
I think that, I really enjoyed seeing Penelope and Eloise back together again.
Aww.
Yeah. Because they're such sweet, good friends. I really enjoyed that.
I quite liked when in that scene in the garden, Penelope's first thing is she's like, "But how's Colin?" It's like, you're ruined that you were asking about Colin.
I know. Because she's the sweetest thing ever. I love her so much. Yeah, I think we covered all of them.
As for least favourite, Anthony seeing the lady who shan't be named
yes.
was a big yawn.
Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, give it a rest. Give it a rest.
Oh God. Is this why? Like, this could have been done in episode 3 and then we didn't have to think about it. Though I like that she's moving on. Get that dollar, girl.
Exactly. She's doing what she needs to do.
And the guy she's with, cute. Get it. Go get it.
Yeah. One thing, I know we talked about it in the storylines when we go back, bouncing back to favorite scenes. Because, the scene between Daphne and her mother, when Daphne basically confronts her mom about the fact that, it's like, yo, you basically sent me out to use an overly dramatic metaphor, like a lamb to the slaughter, without having any idea what was about to happen to me. I mean, thankfully, Simon was a gentle lover and didn't just pounce on her. And, he gave her that little tidbit of knowledge about, hey, there's some stuff you can do. Anyway. But yeah, that was very much needed. Violet Bridgerton is a lovely mother, but you gotta be. I think we've got to give her a break because she is raising 8 kids and by herself. That's true.
But she's only doing half of the work here. She's not preparing her kids for
exactly. Okay, sorry about that. I just had to get that out because that was an awesome scene. Yeah, awesome scene. Now, as far as least favorite scene, the scene with Baron Featherington and Will.
Oh yeah, what was that about?
Yeah, it's like, dude.
I mean, good for the Will guy because he's getting more screen time and make that money, boy. But
yeah, I mean,
why?
Because
is my main question.
Because Baron Featherington is a frickin' dick. He is Snively Whiplash. Thank you very much.
I think we're supposed to suspect that whenever Portia is like, "Oh my God, sort this out," he's rude to her. He's actually thinking, "Oh God, I've got to actually do that." I think that there's not enough scenes with him to flesh that out. He's
one-dimensional.
I wonder if there were more stuff and they've cut him out because he's quite a prominent actor for such a small role. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. But it didn't work.
Yeah.
And I've also got to say, this Benedict storyline, again.
Oh, God.
Where's it going? What is he learning? Wasn't he trying to be an artist? What happened to that? Now he's just exploring the fact that some people are gay. Well, newsflash.
Hello.
Okay.
Yeah. That and, he's now that he's sown a wild oat, he just can't seem to get enough of it.
He's not very good at it because he was like, "Don't tell my life." Okay.
Oh, Lord.
Bless him. Little
Benny. See, performer of the episode.
For me, I'm going to say Regesh.
Yeah.
I was really moved by his reaction to her crying. I think I was more upset about that than her crying. He does anguished stoicism so well. And, there was that moment in the stairwell where he, turned her down. The way he looks at the camera, because he's looking at the camera, not her, he just doesn't have to say anything. You can read his lack of trust in his expression. And I was like, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, he shines. He just shines in his scenes. And I am, I especially love when the two of them are interacting with one another and you see the emotions chasing across each other's face. It's you talk about chemistry, seeing, chemistry between two actors, and they have it in spades.
I think when people talk about chemistry, they're just talking about the sexual chemistry between people, and that's definitely there. But I think as performers, they just gel really well together, and they work. And I'm like, God, give me the next episode. I can just be happy. Okay.
Yeah. Totally agree. He is a delight to watch. I can't wait to watch other things that he performs in. I really can't.
He's gonna be gigantic.
Yeah.
Now.
Oh,
I can feel it.
Yeah. How about least favorite?
Okay. How many B's out of 5?
I'm gonna give this 4.5.
Okay.
I mean, it was good. It was good. I was left really frustrated.
I'm gonna give it the exact same score.
We'll see. There you go.
That's why I gasped. I was like, "Oh, we've done it again."
Yeah, I was just left. I was left unsatisfied.
That's exactly, I think, what they were going for, and why normal people would just play the next episode.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Instead of spending a week going, oh my God, I have to see this episode. This was probably the hardest one for me to. Okay, let me put it this way. When I've watched the previous episodes, where they get to the end of the episode and that little thing at the bottom shows up that says watch credits or next episode. I've managed to hit watch credits fairly quickly because I didn't want to spoil myself. This time, I actually let it go all the way to the start of the episode, and then I turned it off. Because
the bit where it goes Shondaland.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. I mean, I was incredibly tempted to watch it. It was really hard.
I think that was why my initial reaction was just complete anger. I was like, why are we doing this?
I want resolution now.
It's like, I'm mad at myself because it was my idea. Like, what did I... I wish I could go back and slap Rita from the end of December and be like, no.
Just watch the whole thing, like everybody else.
Just like normal people.
Oh, gosh. So, for our inbox, we got a really nice note from Anonymous in our Tumblr inbox.
Mystery magic box of wonder.
Yes. What do you think about the complaint regarding the duration of Simon's stamina, so to speak? That it's too short to be pleasurable to Daphne. Personally, I love these scenes and have enjoyed every single rewatch. It's a huge plot point to see him pull out before he climaxes. That it needed to be shown, and they couldn't seriously stay on with them screwing for 20 minutes in a TV episode. Plus, we see them midway through sessions when they're in bed, out on the lawn, and in the library. Whew, Lord. Mm-hmm. Yeah, right there with him. Right there with you.
Do we
Nani.
really want to watch them do it for?
No,
that would be the whole episode.
I mean, when you start talking about that, then you're starting to get into soft porn because that's basically all you have. There is no, pardon the expression, no meat on the bone of the episode.
Something is really funny because I saw a series of tweets last week that was basically like, there's no foreplay. He comes in about 30 seconds. Like, this is not good sex. And I was like, you make an excellent point, but also, would we want to watch the good version of this? No, it would be boring.
No.
That's what porn is for, surely.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. For that, Pornhub. But
plus these poor actors, can you imagine?
Oh God. I mean, if you think about what all it takes to film an intimate sex scene for television, and all of the craziness that, they've got to deal with the angles and the this and the that and the people in the room and the whole 9 yards. Honestly, give these guys some slack.
Though I've heard that there's way more cut stuff of them screwing around the estate than we've seen.
Oh,
which I'm like, I would like to see.
Yes, I would too, because I think that would be hilarious. I think it would be absolutely hilarious.
A montage just keep going and going, and you're like, oh my god, these poor guys.
Oh my gosh. It's in some sense, you see some of these behind the scenes pictures and videos of these folks, and the friendship that these two actors have developed between one another. It's clear that they both enjoyed the hell out of working with one another. And
thank God, because they were working with each other a lot.
Yes. Yes. So anyway, thank you, Nani. What have we got for the final episode that Rita is going to go directly from editing and watch? Or I honestly think you should just skip editing, go and watch it, and then do the editing.
I think I'd be really frustrated that I couldn't immediately talk about it. So that might be bad.
Oh gosh. Okay, so what's up?
Anyway, so episode 8 is called After the Rain, and the description reads as follows. The really bland description. The Duke and Duchess's season-ending ball signals a turning point for their marriage and ushers in changes of fortune and fate for those around them. Okay, so new info for me. There's a ball.
Yes,
Yay.
There's a ball.
And there's a ball, and I guess that marriage is going to be fine after it rains.
Apparently so. After raining, I guess.
Yay.
But you've got to hand it to whoever at Netflix is responsible for writing these descriptions, because they're evil.
It's a sentence of nothing.
They're evil.
It's a sentence of just, how can you write a sentence where nothing happens? But
evil.
I don't think I would want to know much going into the...
No.
I say that. I probably already know all the information.
Well, you've read the damn book.
But you say that, but I don't know what happens to Marina, and I don't know about all this other stuff.
What happens? What happens with the opera singer? ...
Well, I know she's, unless she dies off dramatically. I know she's sent off into the ether.
Oh dear.
What else is there? I don't know. Is there going to be a boxing fight? I feel like
there has to be one. Yeah, there has to be one with all of the shenanigans that Baron Featherington was trying to deal with.
He's going to lose more money, and it's like, Baron Featherington,
dude,
why are you so stupid? Stop doing the same thing and expecting a different reaction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Penelope deserves better. Honestly, actually, the whole Featherington.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
I love Portia. She's a queen doing the best she can in the world. I'm still kind of mad at Violet for hating on her. I'm like, you would have done the same thing if it was one of your daughters, okay? So don't come at me with that attitude, Violet.
Oh, yeah, that was a seriously holier-than-thou attitude. I mean, and although she did give the perfect example of the cut direct.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I gasped and nothing even happened. I was like,
I know.
How dare you?
I mean, you hear about, the cut direct in, like novels and stuff like that. And, you think, well, okay, how bad could it be? Look.
When everyone is watching?
Oh,
terrible.
Yeah, absolutely ghastly.
Well, look, one of the things I need them to do is make up because, they're going to have to at some point.
Yeah.
Because when Colin and Penelope end up falling madly in love, they're going to be family.
Yes, Lord. So, anyhow, that's it from us this time, but we will be back next week recapping and discussing the last episode of season 1.
I'm sad.
I'm sad, but I'm so thrilled that we have a season 2 to look forward to.
That's a good point.
Yes.
And apparently they're starting in March.
Nice. Nice. You think for another Christmas time release?
I think that might be pushing it, but maybe it's quicker this time because they don't have to start from scratch.
Yeah, true enough. Okay.
Who knows? Someone at Netflix, tell me.
Yes, please.
Get in contact.
Please. We need to know. And some little juicy behind the scenes stuff would be really great too.
Yep.
Yep.
Give us the photos. Give us the deets.
Absolutely. Well, until then, follow us on social media. We are at Bridgerton Fancast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can email us at bridgertonfancast@gmail.com, or you can go to our message page on Tumblr. And please remember to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts, because it really helps us reach a larger audience. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you soon. Bye!
Bye!